I asked myself a crazy question. Could the same three Pokemon work in both Great League and Ultra League? Obviously, the metas are very different. Great League is crawling with ground types, as well as Skarmory and Lantern. Meanwhile, Ultra League is the home of the dragons, poisons, and the Swords of Justice, to name a few. What works in one league simply won't work in the other. Or will it? I added 3 more restrictions to my team building strategy to make this challenge even more intense. My team has to include a Fire-type Pokemon in honor of the Scorching Sands event. All of the Pokemon of the same species across both teams have to have the same fast and charge attacks, and they all have to be triple Shadow. I started team building, and to be honest, the first few attempts were very, very bad. Then, something clicked. I brought back some old favorites, mainly Shadow Walrein and Shadow Dragonite, and I paired them with Typhlosion. The challenges for this video are very simple, and if I fail any of them, I'm going to give away a free GoFest Global ticket to one commenter. Number 1, every time I lose a battle, I have to switch leagues. Number 2, I cannot lose 3 battles in a row. I'm on the hot seat here, and if I lose 3 games, I lose the challenge. Buckle in, because these battles are insane. Let's get started. Alright everybody, let's get started. As you can see there on the side, we have the Ultra League IVs and the Great League IVs for these Pokemon for your reference. Jumping right into game number 1 in the Great League, this is a Shadow Empoleon in the lead. Typically would expect to see this in Ultra League, so definitely weird to see it in Great League. We also know the pacing is 6, 6, and 5 with the Steel Wings, which means it's just a hair faster than Shadow Dragonite. I pull away the first Protect Shield, switch into the Typhlosion. I really love to swap in and try to get the Incinerate damage, and I think that if I fire one more, it'll KO. My opponent actually switches in Goodra, and I've got the Blast Burn right there, but I actually go over. I go to the 4th Incinerate, which means I have 80 energy, right? Because it's 20 energy per Incinerate. Aqua Tail does get fired off, but this allows me to build up to double Blast Burns. If my opponent does not shield this, it's going to do a ton of damage. Opponent decides to shield it at the last second, but I've got another one locked, loaded, and ready to go. Incinerate Typhlosion has been really fun. In this challenge in particular, it was hard to handle. At this point, I don't know if my opponent is quite yet at the Thunder Punch, but I don't want to risk it with the Shadow Dragonite. So I send in the Walrein, get 1 Powdered Snow to get the KO. We know the Empoleon is working on that cycle, but we make a heads-up switch to catch an attack onto the Dragonite. Is this a resisted attack? No, it's just the Drill Peck. Coming with the Walrein here, a little bit of spot lag, but it comes in with the Giratina. Now we know it's going to be quite a few Shadow Claws to the Shadow Ball, so I'm able to overcharge just a pinch. And I know I can also survive 1 attack from Empoleon. So we KO the Giratina, in comes the Empoleon, we get to the Icicle Spear, and Walrein is actually going to triple KO in our first match of the Typhlosion Challenge. As per the rules, we're going to stay in the Great League for game number 2. We've got Furryha as our next opponent, Dragonite lead as always. This time though it's Guzzlord, and I do have a hard answer to Guzzlord in my Walrein, but I think I need to stay in here because I don't want to give up the hard answer just yet. Actually going to make the switch and catch onto the charge attack from the Guzzlord. Whenever I see this Pokemon, I assume there's a counter user in the back, but actually we get Hypno this time, which is super weird. But I'm going to go ahead and fire off the Icicle Spear. Hypno's a little slow, right? 4 and then 3 for its elemental punches. Shiny Shadow is a nice flex, but at this point, I don't know if I can farm down with the Dragonite. I might try, but it's going to be really close. Thunder Punch does connect. I have my Typhlosion. I guess I could try to Incinerate down. This is a very uncomfortable position. I come in with the Dragonite, and I realize that the confusions are coming through. A little bit of a bad timing on the throw there by me, but I'm able to get off the Dragon Claw. They don't shield, which is nice, which means I get the KO. In comes Tapu Fini, and this is like the ultimate core breaker for our trio, right? There's virtually nothing we can do against Tapu Fini, but I'm going to play it out just to see what happens. I was actually worried about Tapu Fini in Ultra League, more so than I was in Great League, but here we are. And again, with an Incinerate user, your turn speed is very slow. 5 turns for 1 Incinerate, so I'm always worried about a catch. Able to peel off 1 more Thunder Punch here at the last second, but I think my opponent realizes what's going to happen here. Tapu Fini is going to get a big sweep, and that's a game 2 loss. Which means that we now have to switch over to the Ultra League. The Ultra League versions of these Pokemon ready to go. I think that Walrein and Dragonite in particular are much better suited for Ultra League, but I needed some kind of coverage for all the ground and water types in Great League, so I thought that Dragon and Ice would be a good combination. Let's see how we do in Ultra League though. This is Sharkstar, one of the funniest names I've seen in a long time. They lead Cresselia. Obviously problematic, right? We don't want to take a Moonblast. We know Psycho Cut's pretty fast. We can't deal any super effective damage with any of our Pokemon to this Cresselia, so we have to beat it neutrally. They do bait the Grass Knot, which is really clever. And I think at this point, if it's Moonblast, that's resistant on Typhlosion. If it's Grass Knot, that's also resistant on Typhlosion. The only way I lose here if it's Future Sight. They actually don't throw, electing to go into the Poliwrath. We know it's going to be, 7 counters for the Icy Wind, 8 for the Scald. So I'm going to go ahead and fire up the Thunder Punch to try to take a shield, and we do get one. But this matchup already looks really tough. They threw 2 counters in the charge attack. I think I call the Icy Wind here. Yes. I try to call Icy Wind, but it's Scald. GG's. We get absolutely annihilated, and I think I'm malding at this point. I'm like, oh, come on. We're going to try to outpace the Poliwrath, but at the same time, like, I think I go on the CMP, but in Ultra League, Pokemon are so much bulkier, and this is definitely not going to be enough to KO. So Poliwrath hangs on and gets the Icy Wind. This is really bad. We've gone from bad to worse, and our hot seat's on level 1 right now. I think it's going to be on level 2 pretty soon. In comes the Cresselia, fast swap into Ampharos, and at this point, I really want to get to the Earthquake and at least threaten a shield. They get to a Thunder Punch, but I think there was a win condition here actually, because I throw the Earthquake. Now this attack will absolutely knock out if it goes through, and it does not, and they're just one away. At this point, I throw the Dragon Claw. I think I should have gone for Superpower. It does a lot more damage. Maybe it will give me a chance to knock out. Dragon Claw is not enough. It's Charge Attack Priority tie, and we're going to get Thunder Punch. Ultra League or not, Shadow Dragonite goes down, and that's 2 losses in a row. We're headed back to the Great League, and if I lose this game right here, the challenge is already over, and I'm going to give away that free GoFest Global Pass. In this game, though, we've got a Talonflame lead, which is pretty solid for Dragonite. I think the pacing for Dragonite is just a little more favorable. They go with Lantern, actually. And if you look at our backline, Lantern is a huge core breaker for Typhlosion and Walrein. So, honestly, I think I'm just going to stay in for a little while. We get off the first Dragon Claw. We're going to try to outpace to another one. But I believe this is Thunderbolt Energy. It's actually just a Surf. I think I try to go for the Dragon Breath down. Yes, absolutely get the full Dragon Breath down. Talonflame comes in. We fire off 4 more Dragon Breaths in the midst of the 5-turn Incinerate to get the Dragon Claw. That's going to peel away that first shield. And right there, I was expecting them to just throw, and I was going to try to win the Charge Attack priority, but they throw another Incinerate. So at this point, I go Typhlosion because they're both 5-turn Incinerates, and I got the 0-turn swap on the switch. I'm able to go ahead and throw my fast attacks, calling a Flame Charge. This time I'm going to shield no matter what, though. I think I could have tanked a Fly as well. Only thing I was scared of was a Brave Bird. Final Pokemon is Ferrothorn, and that saves us from being too hot on the hot seat. The hot seat has cooled down, but we really need to win this next game to have a positive set in this challenge. So let's see what we can cook up here. It's going to be Flower Power as our opponent. Shadow Dragonite in the lead. Gligar this time. Remember, we're back in the Great League because we won our Great League game. Now, Gligar is definitely problematic. It is going to pace more quickly than Dragonite, and the Aerial Ace does add up really quickly as well. Aerial Ace does connect. I'm going to look for a Dragon Claw here, but I'm hoping they might try to switch. Gonna go ahead and throw Dragon Claw. I don't know if there's anywhere. No, actually, there's nowhere on my team I can catch resisted damage. I try to go for the Dragon Breath down, but I don't get it. However, this Gligar is so low, I think I can just throw 1 Incinerate and get all this free energy. We absolutely do. For just 1 HP, we're able to get a mass of free energy. In comes the Lantern, and this is honestly not the worst case because I needed an energy head start to keep pace with the Lantern and make this competitive. So, gonna fire off another Incinerate. With the 2-turn Sparks versus the 5-turn Incinerates, I'm gonna throw 1 as many times as I can. Very similar to a 3-turn user, right? It's 2, 4, 6 for the 2 turns, so I'm gonna throw 1 to get all 5 of my turns. I only give away 1 free turn of energy. Trying to catch a Surf. Is this our first resisted catch of the game? Mitt goes up. It's a Surf catch. Let's absolutely get it. Gonna look for the Powder Snow down. Absolutely vicious activity by me. In comes Talonflame. This isn't all that bad, right? Because in my mind, I just need to get the shields down, and then Typhlosion, Thunder Punch will decimate the Talonflame. They don't show the first Icicle Spear, which I think is the right move, and they have gathered quite a bit of energy with their Incinerates. I do peel away the first Protect Shield there. Walrein can't get to another one. They wisely decide to throw here. I think an Undercharge would be really tough for me, but they KO instead. I need to build up to 2 Thunder Punches, and I get it, but I'm looking at my HP, and the Shadow Factor is really betraying me because the Incinerate came through, and I think I had a win condition, but I end up losing the game on an Incinerate damage, landing against a Typhlosion, and that's a negative set. A game loss means that we switch back to the Ultra League, and because we already have that 1 loss from the previous set, we are starting the second set on the hot seat. Chevas is our opponent. Shadow Dragonite lead into Giratina. Again, Shadow Dragonite is so strong neutrally, but it does have a pacing issue in the current meta because this is a Shadow Claw Giratina, 5 and then 4 for the Dragon Claws. And yes, I'm doing a lot of damage with my Dragon Breaths, but it takes 6 of those Shadow Claws for me to get to one of my Dragon Claws, right? So they're always going to outpace. Counter swap in the Feraligatr. I'm going to try to call a Hydro Cannon here. It's only 5, and I'm in the Ultra League, so I think I can take it, and we absolutely do. First Dragon Claw gets fired off here, hoping to get a shield from the Feraligatr, and we do. Gonna look for a second Dragon Claw, barely hanging on through the Shadow Claw damage, and I need to make a swap out here. They actually let it through, and I do faint. Coming in with the Wall Rain, I'm going to try to soak whatever this is. If this is Hydro Cannon, it's heavily resisted. If it's Ice Beam, it's fine. Hydro Cannon, definitely very resisted. Coming in with Poliwrath, though, and this is really bad because I give up alignment. And at this juncture, I think they're going to be able to align their Giratina to my... sorry, I'm trying to think. They're going to align the Giratina to the Typhlosion. Yeah, exactly what I was worried about. Going to fire up the Blast Burn here against the Giratina and try to deal some damage, but everything's resisted, obviously, due to the Dragon typing. Good timing by them as well, but I'm going to try to persevere because my game plan right now is to try to KO the Giratina and throw a Thunder Punch into the Poliwrath to take the shield, and then maybe try to get to an Earthquake, but it's going to be really tough. Blast Burn does connect. Going to go up here for one more Thunder Punch. We barely get it off. 3 counters worth of damage are always going to come through when you throw that Incinerate, so you have to be mindful of that. Going into the Wall Rain, I'm still several counters away. I get to the Earthquake, but it's on CMP. I don't think it was enough anyway, but Scald comes through, Wall Rain faints, and I get countered down. That's 2 losses in a row, and our seat's heating up. Switching back into the Great League now, let's see how our luck goes in the best league, the Classic League, right? The Open Great League. Going to this next battle, Dan Moore is our opponent. A little bit of a down pair, down to level 50, or excuse me, at rank 15. Skarmory lead. I think I need to switch out of this one immediately. Go in with the Wall Rain. The reason I didn't play something like a Frostlass is because I'm so... I just don't like taking super effective damage straight up from Steel Wing. That's why Alola Ninetales is not very good in the current meta. You take double super effective damage from Steel Wings, and I didn't want to be a pure Ice type, so it's either going to be Wall Rain or Dugong, and you can't play Dugong in Ultra League. My opponent's actually, well, I guess you can. My opponent's actually staying in this matchup way longer than I thought. I do peel away the first Protect Shield. They lose count of the Icicle Spears, which I don't blame them. You can see down there in the bottom left, thanks to Yanku Jean and the move count cards, it's 5 to each one. At this point, I like Typhlosion with the shield advantage. I did a couple of practice sets before the challenge, and I was starting to get more comfortable with this team. The 2 Steel Wings come through, but so does the Incinerate. It's a Meganium in the back. I'm going to fire off the Blast Burn here against Meganium. Look for a massive knockout against his Pokemon, and we get it. It's a Zoomerol in the back. Would be a little bit tough, but I do have a shield advantage here for the Typhlosion, and they let a full Incinerate's damage go through, which is incredible for us. Ice Beam comes, excuse me, I shoot up the Ice Beam, throw one more Incinerate. I think I was at max energy anyway, so it's probably a waste. I'm going to gauge how much damage this does, and just for fun, just to be cheeky, I switch into the Dragonite. If they don't throw, I'm going to go ahead and throw my own superpower and aim for the KO, but they do. Ice Beam comes through. That's a knockout. Typhlosion, my bubbles come up, and I throw the Thunder Punch here. We saw how much damage the first one did. This is definitely a knockout, and we stay off the hot seat yet again. Jumping into game number 8, we didn't lose that game, so we're going to go ahead and stay in the Great League. It's going to be Shadow Dragonite lead into Swampert. This is one of the best leads that I could hope to see with this Pokemon. They switch in Seaking. We know this Pokemon has Icy Wind, and it also has Drill Run. Not the best timing by me. I could probably go to Wall Rain pretty soon, but I want to stay in this matchup a little while longer. We make the catch. If this is a resisted Icy Wind, it's our second catch of the video. Bam, there it is. Resisted Icy Wind onto the Wall Rain. I still need to land an Earthquake in order to get the knockout here. And to be candid, I could have played this one of 2 ways. I could have stayed with Dragonite in this matchup and then just aligned Wall Rain to Swampert, but I really like having my Dragonite against the Swampert later. The only thing I need to protect myself against is an energy advantage. We pull away the Protect Shield. I throw a second Icicle Spear against the Seaking. They're fighting really hard for switch advantage, but they let that through and they KO us. That's bad, right? We gave up shield advantage, or excuse me, we gave up switch advantage, but we have 2 shields in our court. I go in for the Typhlosion. I get freaking denied an entire Incinerate, and I lose out on 20 damage. They throw the Icy Wind. I call it. because I suspect they think I'm bringing in Dragonite. I make the swap. In comes Dugong. I'm going for the superpower. Can't get there, but Typhlosion is my last hope. I know my opponent's likely going to throw an Icy Wind, but I also need to maintain at least one shield for the Swampert. So I go ahead and protect that, shield that up. I'm going to go up for, I believe it's 2 more Incinerates, and I get to the Blast Burn. This is going to deal an incredible amount of damage to the Dugong, even though I'm debuffed, and it knocks out. I'm going to go for 1 more Incinerate here. I know I need 2 charge attacks to KO the Swampert, and I also know that Thunder Punch is double resisted by ground, but water is weak to it, so it's only single resisted. I'm going to go all the way up for the next Blast Burn, and we get there. I don't think Swampert was confident it had the double Hydro Cannons, and we get another win with a really tricky team. Jumping right into this next battle, let's see what we can do. We came off a really solid win in Great League against that Swampert team. Now we're going to lean into Shadow Quagsire. Obviously, Shadow Quagsire does have that Stone Edge asset. Needs to be mindful of that. Shadow Dragonite does put in a lot of work, but out comes Lickitung. And at this point, I know I've got my Walrein in the back, and I know Walrein can handle Quagsire relatively easily. I can't tank 2 Stone Edges, but I can absorb 1. And honestly, this Dragonite's a really good answer to Lickitung. So I'm trying to build up to a Dragon Claw and a Superpower at the same time. And we do get there, which is really nice. We're able to pull away the Protect Shield with the Dragon Claw, fire the Superpower, get both shields. Now I go into Walrein. I know this is probably going to be a Power Whip, but I also know Walrein is excessively bulky. Don't really need to worry about it too much. Power Whip does come through. I'm going to look for an Icicle Spear here to get the knockout. And I just want a little bit of HP remaining, just so I can maintain control of switch advantage. We do get the KO finally onto Lickitung, and now I suspect they bring in the Quag, and they do. I'm trying to get to the Icicle Spear, but they outpace me to the Aqua Tail. Now, I'm obviously going to bring Dragonite back into this, but I need to wait down my switch timer just in case. I did stay in quite a while against the Lickitung swap in, so now my switch timer is not ready. This Quagsire actually could probably just fire Aqua Tails and KO me, so I am going to shield up. I know I win the CMP. I know I'm 1 Dragon Breath away, so I'm trying to pull the trigger on it, and we do get it. The only risky thing here is that I have no shields for Shadow Typhlosion. I do pick up the KO on Quagsire, and in comes Gligar. I make a huge mistake, and I stay too long in that matchup. I throw a Thunder Punch as well, trying to chip down this Gligar, but I know that ground double resists electric, so it's only single times weak. It is a charge tech priority tie, but I think the Gligar's got just a little bit too much left in the tank. Dig does connect. Typhlosion goes down. Dragonite comes out, trying to pace to the Dragon Claw. Can't quite get there, and we lose in the Great League. Our hot seat is heating up. Switching back over to the Ultra League, this is Janky Shoebox in our next battle. We've got Shadow Ampharos in the lead, a Pokemon that I actually see quite often in Ultra League. Can run Brutal Swing, Thunder Punch, Focus Blast. It's got a Trailblaze even. It's got a lot of options. I'm going to go ahead and shield up what I think is a Thunder Punch, but it actually turns out to be the Brutal Swing. Going to go for 7 more Dragon Breaths and then throw. I'm trying to force my opponent into an overtap here, throwing an additional Volt Switch. And it looks like they do throw it, and I get the charge type priority tie on their next charge attack. Dragonite wins most of the CMPs in Ultra League and Great League, so that's a really, really nice pick. We take down the Ampharos. In comes Feraligatr. I'm going to try to get to 1 more Dragon Claw, but the Shadow Claws are adding up. Shadow Feraligatr able to KO our Shadow Dragonite. Now I'm forced to bring in the Walrein. Their last Pokemon is Scrafty. I know Scrafty is typically a level 50 Pokemon in Ultra League these days. Able to get up my 3rd Incinerate there. And they have the Feraligatr in the back, so why not just go for the Foul Play? And that's exactly what they do. They know they have Hydro Cannons in the back in case I don't shield, so they take my final shield with Foul Play. I don't think Thunder Punch is enough here. I don't know the damage intervals, but it doesn't feel like enough, so I go for the double Blast Burns back to back. They throw another counter, which means they didn't have a charge attack ready to go, and I do get the knockout. In comes the Feraligatr, but this is actually really good. They got nervous. They threw the Hydro Cannon, used up some of this vital energy, and now I can bring in the Walrein with my stored energy already. I don't care if this is Crunch. I obviously don't care if it's Ice Beam or Hydro Cannon. It's just the Crunch. Defense falls. Who cares? Go for the Earthquake here. This is definitely going to pick up a knockout in Ultra League. Shadow Walrein has been a big surprise in this video, and that nets us another win. Kicking off our 3rd and final set of the video. If you like this content, if you like this style, let me know down in the comment section below. Leave a like if you feel so inclined. I had a lot of fun making this video, and it was definitely a tough challenge, but a memorable one at that. Chris is going to be our next opponent, Talonflame lead. As a reminder, we are sticking to the Ultra League because we just won our last battle in the Ultra League. This is going to play out similarly to how it plays out in the Great League, but the caveat is I can probably soak a Flame Charge. I just don't want to take a fly here, so I am going to use the shield. Excuse me, it is a Flame Charge bait. They come in with for Alligator. I've got a ton of energy though. And I think this is just a Hydro Cannon, but I do want to preserve my Shadow Dragonite. I'm going down 0 to 2 shields very early in this matchup, which can be problematic, but I need to try to find my way back into this game. Dragon Claw does connect. For Alligator takes it like a champ. Gonna throw a second one, trying to get back one of these Protect Shields. I'm trying to time the Hydro Cannon and make a catch on the Wall Rain. And I do right here. I think this is the Hydro Cannon. Let's go. Catch number 3, baby. Count them. Bang! Hydro Cannon. My fingers weren't in the camera. I'm going to look for a big Powder Snow down. Absolutely vicious, disgusting, relentless, just absolutely obnoxious farm down. In comes the Talonflame. Going to go for the Icicle Spear here to try to peel away that final Protect Shield from the Firebird. And we do get it. I'm going to overcharge a little bit, hoping they lose count, but they don't. Great awareness there by the opponent. This actually... Flame Charge isn't enough. My water subtyping helps out. They see it. They make the switch into Annihilate. I know Annihilate needs 8 counters for the first Shadow Ball. Here, they get 2. This is where Incinerate counting really comes into context because they have 2 counters. If they get 6 more, I get KO'd by a Shadow Ball. I throw off 2 Incinerates, swap into Dragonite, force him to throw. I think this might just be the Night Slash. I need to stay calculated, need to stay composed, but it's a Shadow Ball. We catch a Shadow Ball on Dragonite. I'm going to go for 1 more Incinerate plus the Thunder Punch. Going to look for a KO here onto the Annihilate. We get the knockout. In comes Talonflame. We're 1 Incinerate away. We get to the Thunder Punch. This is massive. We're going to get super effective electric type damage on the Talonflame. Bam, that's a KO, and we're going to stay in the Ultra League a little while longer. Game number 12 coming at you in our third and final set of the challenge. This is Typhlosion, I think is how you say it. They're going to lead Annihilate. So Dragonite's flying typing definitely helps it in matchups against fighters, as I'm sure you're aware. You're going to resist those counters pretty decently. We're going to see the Annihilate fire off its first charge attack. I think it's an Ice Punch, and it is, which means that their pacing is equal to ours. It's going to be 6, 6, and 5, right? So with that in mind, I'm going to fire up the first Dragon Claw. I know that if I throw the second one, we're going to CMP and they're going to lock me into a bad situation, but I get a full Dragon Breath down. In comes the Ampharos. We're just going to stay. Going to try to get my 7 Dragon Breaths there in the midst of 2 Volt Switches. Throw a Dragon Claw, take away the first Protect Shield, try to get to another Claw, but they are wisely deciding to throw here after their next Volt Switch comes through. Brutal Swing does KO the Shadow Dragonite. Going to come in with Typhlosion here. They counter swap into Feraligatr. I want to take a shield and clear the way for Wall Rain and maybe, just maybe, try to catch a charge attack onto my Wall Rain as well. We're going to go ahead and fire off 1 Incinerate. That is going to be 3 Shadow Claws. So if I stay any longer, they're going to get 2 more Shadow Claws. And I swap into the Wall Rain to snipe the Feraligatr. And in comes the Ampharos here. I just need to take the shield. That's all I need to do because once I take the shield, I can try to line up my Typhlosion to get a knockout. Icicle Spear coming through, does take the final Protect Shield, trying to pace to another attack here. We go on the CMP, but they're very, very wise to throw their charge attack, winning the charge attack priority over the Wall Rain. It's a Focus Blast! All that energy down the drain! Thunder Punch is probably enough, but I don't care. I'm going to go ahead and fire the Incinerate first, and then the Thunder Punch, and this is another win for us in Ultra League with Shadow Typhlosion. The Ultra League train keeps on rolling. Let's see if we can keep the good times rolling as well. As a reminder, everybody, if I lose 3 games in a row in this challenge, I will fail the challenge and give away that free GoFest Global ticket. We get a Cresselia lead this time, and an Ultra League that's particularly problematic. It is a Confusion Cresselia, which I thought was really weird, but we're going to try to pace to our charge attacks just the same. Going to show this first charge attack from the Cresselia. They wisely decide to bait. Going to go for 3 more Dragon Breaths and then the Dragon Claw to try to chip down this Pokemon. Excuse me. And it does come through. Going to go for 3 more Dragon Breaths and try to Dragon Claw again. Maybe try to catch a Moonblast somewhere. I'm not really sure how I want to play this out. We do switch in, get the full Incinerate, and negate all the damage from Cresselia. In comes Feraligatr, but we have a massive head start. Gonna fire off 2 more Incinerates and then the Thunder Punch. I just want to take a shield here and hopefully not allow this Feraligatr to get too far ahead. We don't get the shield, and at this point, Feraligatr's a little bit low, but one thing to consider is that this is a regular Feraligatr. It's not Shadow. So the Shadow Dragon Breaths from Dragonite are not going to add up as quickly as I would like. Going to come in with the Wall Rain here, revealing my 3rd Pokemon. Might be tipping my hat to what I have in the back. I anticipate they go for the Crunch, so I throw the Icicle Spear instead, trying to outpace, and we do pick up the KO. In comes Muck. This is a Poison Jab Muck. Definitely a lot more fast attack pressure than the Snarl version. I'm going to throw the Icicle Spear here. I'm not quite to the Earthquake, so it's probably not a shielding scenario, and they don't shield. But now I'm starting to look at their HP and thinking, okay, they're getting pretty low. I don't know if I can win this, but I need to try to apply a lot of pressure. Switch in the Dragonite, trying to get to another Dragon Claw here. And we actually do, but they're doing something incredibly clever. They're using both of their shields here. Here comes number 2, and they're banking double Dark Pulses. One to break the Protect Shield, and one to hopefully KO the Wall Rain. This might be Acid Spray, I don't know. I'm going to let it through. It's a Dark Pulse. I had to make a call there. Unfortunately, it was not the right call, and that is a loss here in game number 3 of this set. We switch back to the Great League here in our final set of the Typhlosion, Triple Shadow, Scorching Sands, Ultra League, Great League Challenge, whatever you want to call it. And we've got Ramir as our next opponent. We're going to get a Froslass lead, which is really bad. This is actually awful. Going to go for my Wall Rain here. I know that these Powder Snows are definitely resisted by my typing and subtyping, but they switch into Jellicent. This is a double Ghost team. If they ever encounter something like, I don't know, Sableye, even maybe a Skeledirge, they would be in trouble. But I do see this as an opportunity to try to take away switch advantage. So I am going to shield up what I am positive is a Shadow Ball, and it is. Going to go for a couple more, or excuse me, going to go for one more Powder Snow, then the Icicle Spear to try to apply pressure to the Jellicent. Do we get the first shield? No, we do not. Going to look for a big Powder Snow down, and we actually get there, which is huge. I want to push for the Earthquake. My opponent comes in with the Froslass. Shadow Ball will probably KO here. I have a good feeling it will, and it does. Wall Rain does faint, but now I have control switch advantage. I can put my Typhlosion onto this Froslass, which we do. Incinerate comes through. It's a Skeledirge in the back, though. And that is 3 Incinerates already, which means they have the Disarming Voice. I have to let it through and try to play the Typhlosion win condition. In my mind, I'm just going to spam the Thunder Punches. I need to break 2 shields, KO a Skeledirge, and somehow also KO that Typhlosion in the back. Third Incinerate does come through. We know for Skeledirge, it's 3 then 2, so they are already 1 ahead. That is their 4th Incinerate to come through, which means they're at 80 energy, which is massive. I'm going to get one of my own Incinerates, but I recognize at this point this is going to be really tough to overcome. They throw the first Disarming Voice. I go for another Incinerate. They have their second Disarming Voice, resist it or not. Shadow Typhlosion in Great League absolutely does barely hang on, but it absolutely takes a huge loss of HP. Going to go for my own Thunder Punch here. And then, oh, it actually switched in the Froslass, which is really tough, but either way, that's GG's. Final battle of the video. This could be the decider. If we lose this game, we have definitely been consumed by the hot seat. Let's see how we do. We're going to go back to the Ultra League here. We've had a lot of luck there. Shadow Dragonite into Muck. We had a bit of a problematic game against Muck earlier, so I'm looking for some revenge. This is another Poison Jab Muck. Muck in the lead definitely is known to throw some some acid sprays in the midst of all their Poison Jabs, but I'm going to try to play this out and see what happens. Dragon Claw fired off, does peel away that first Protect Shield. Muck did throw on the Charge Attack priority tie, which is really nice for me. And it's an Acid Spray, which is really tough, so I switch into the Wall Rain. They come in with a counter user, which is the worst thing. This is absolutely not what I wanted to see. I mean, even Ampharos would have been better than this because I can take a shield from that. Icicle Spear gets fired off. That actually does quite a bit of damage. If I connect the second Icicle Spear, it's going to be close to KOing. And if they don't throw Shadow Ball, I will hang on. It's just the Night Slash. Wall Rain hangs on. I didn't see a boost. Going to go ahead and throw another Icicle Spear here against the Annihilate. They don't shield it. And they get to one more Night Slash here with just 1 HP. I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. This is a prime candidate for an Incinerate down, and that's exactly what we do. Typhlosion comes in, 1 Incinerate's worth of damage. In comes Shadow for Alligator in the back. They try to swap in the Muck, cheeky play, and I try to get out, but they come in with the Muck. I think this is Dark Pulse, but it's just another Acid Spray. So I have to go into Dragonite to try to apply some pressure. We get a full Dragon Breath down. I need to take a shield away from this for Alligator. We get one right here. Dragon Claw gets it for Alligator, trying to peel away that final Protect Shield. We don't get it. They're too smart for me. They Shadow Claw down. I come in with Typhlosion. I fire the Thunder Punch, but I didn't see the Shadow Claw come through, which means this is Charge Attack priority. I fire off the first one. They have the move. It's loaded. It's ready. Here comes Hydro Cannon from Shadow for Alligator, and our challenge is going to fizzle out. Shadow Typhlosion cannot hang in the Ultra League, and that is a good game. What a thriller. Overall, I had a ton of fun in that Shadow Typhlosion. Well, I guess Triple Shadow, Scorching Sands, Great League, Ultra League, Cross League Challenge, whatever you want to call it. Let me know down in the comments below what you think a good name would be. Regardless, I had a great time. It was really fun to make this content, and I think these challenges are a fun way to keep GBL fresh and exciting. Let me know what you think below, and as always, I appreciate you a lot, and I'll see you in the next one.